Welcome to Still Talking Uncut. I'm your host, Big Easy, joined by Uncle Joey and Matt Lemasters. Special guest tonight, my man, Aaron Harris from Green River Distillery Co. down in Kentucky. I want to say Daviess County.
It's just Davis.
Oh, man, I try to get fancy with it. I try to look like Daviess. Come on. You should have threw me that bone.
There ain't no French down here.
Oh, anyways.
The only thing French is never mind.
Down in Owensboro, Kentucky, man. And it's a pleasure to have you, Aaron. Try to get a little fancy, it didn't work out.
But we can't take him anywhere.
Put that finger up, put it down.
That's right. Welcome to the show, brother. It's a pleasure to have you. Uncle Joey reached out to Aaron and got him on the show, so we appreciate that. Uncle Joey, you're a hell of a scheduler, man. Whoever lets you go should be kicking themselves. We love you. But anyways, we always start the show with what you drinking on. Uncle Joe, you got something special down there?
Yeah, so our man Phil kind of turned me on to the Green River, man. I've heard him talk about it, and I got Aaron on, and I hadn't had any of their stuff yet, so I wanted to go grab a bottle, and Phil talked highly. Phil's got 4 or 5 bottles of it, and he says it's all damn good. So I ran out and got a bottle. I like a higher proof, so I got this Green River full proof. And it's a 5 to 7 year blended. And man, I tell you what, the taste on this, it's a really good bottle. I highly recommend. I started kind of at the higher end. I know you've got some lower proofs and some weeded, but I recommend this, man. This is a really good bottle, and I'm really excited about trying some of your other stuff. You guys just released a single barrel bottle that I am now on the hunt for. So I'm excited to venture further into your bottles. But welcome, by the way. But I'm having some of that this evening.
Nice.
Very good.
Sipping on anything over there, Aaron, or is it a work night?
Oh man, I just got finished unloading about a third of a trailer of mulch, so I'm relaxing on some Green River weeded at the moment.
Nice.
Love me a weeded liquor.
What's the proof? What's the proof on that?
90 proof.
90 proof.
I didn't tap into the barrel whiskey tonight.
Nice. I'm still sipping on this bottle of bourbon.
So Aaron, he made a trip down to some friends of ours down in North Carolina. He was actually on his way home, and I got sent home a bottle of aged corn liquor from a dear friend of ours, and it was full. And it
wasn't.
Yeah,
there was this much in here when I got it.
Yeah.
That's where it was.
So obviously, the gentleman that made it did a pretty good job, where that bottle would still be full.
It went to West Virginia with me to my buddy Hooch's, and we polished off half of it, and maybe another jar that was supposed to come here. I don't know, but it was a good time.
Either way,
look, I'll be honest. I'm not mad because what happened with the moonshine that was supposed to be brought to me did exactly what it was intended to do. It was shared and enjoyed by other people, so I can't be mad at it, man. I can't.
That's right. Matt, what are you drinking on?
I didn't make it to the store to get anything good, so I just got my little homemade punch.
Hey, ain't so bad.
Yeah, well, you can put that finger up with that one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got some corn liquor in there. Don't worry.
Who made it?
Sean.
Yeah, we know better than that.
All right, so we just want to hear a little bit about yourself, Aaron. We want to know how when you fell in love with alcohol, and then when you decided, hey, this is something that I want to divulge into. If you would like to lead us along your path, we would love to hear.
Yeah, so started my career at Barton 1792 down in Bardstown back in 2014. Basically I was the first person hired in there in about 10 years as a supervisor in the distillery, because this was about the time, the boom is coming back on nobody can make enough. So we went back to running full bore 24/7 there at that distillery, and they needed more help. So I took a second shift swing job, a swing shift supervisor job. So I had to work second shift, and then I had to give the guy on third shift his day off. So I did that for about 2.5 years, and had the opportunity to move on to help build Lux Row Distillers. So I joined John Rimpey and crew over there with Luxco to help build that distillery, which is doing very well. Had a lot of fun starting up new mash, basically continuing production at a different distillery for a lot of the same mash bills, a lot of same very, very well-respected brands, the Ezra Brooks, the David Nicholsons, the Rebel Yell, Rebel now.
I dropped my bottle.
Yeah, so anything I was laying down was probably 2018 through sometime, right after COVID, 2020 or so.
So that bottle you got there, Uncle Joey, is from that distillery.
Yeah.
And you said that's from 2019, correct?
Yeah. I stopped down to ABC down in Alabama, and I've never had it. And again, I was looking for a new bottle that I never had, and my son had told me that this is a pretty solid label. So I picked this up, and it was an ABC Select hand selected barrel pick, I believe. And I happened to look; it was 2019. And when I looked on Aaron's profile, I thought he had been there, so I'd asked him today, and this was some of the work that he had put in at Lux Row. So, and this is a solid bottle. That full proof is really good, man.
Good. I haven't been able to find. I haven't pursued it just too hard yet, but I need to get me a bottle that we actually laid down and has fully aged there. A lot of my stuff is a little bit older than that.
Nice.
So anyway, I did that. I had a lot of fun. We had a great time setting that facility up for Don Lux and his crew. About a little after COVID started, we started kind of figuring out, what does it look like moving forward, and I didn't quite see the path set up for me to excel. I think it was more or less just day in and day out, make the juice and keep your head down and keep your blinders on and keep going. And that wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I took an opportunity to be the head distiller up at Watershed Distillery in Columbus, Ohio. So my wife and I moved up there in 2021. Did the head distiller job there for about 7-8 months, and then took over as director of operations, running shipping, processing, bottling, distillation, all that good stuff. And we did that for about a year and a half. Then we both, my wife and I both decided we needed to move back to Kentucky to be with family. It was that was a pretty far distance for us with the 3 little kids, and reached out to some friends I'd worked with in the past to see if there was anything in the area, any jobs open, anybody they're trying to fill for. And lo and behold, my buddy was just looking for a person to help run Green River. Bardstown Bourbon Company just purchased Green River and needed somebody on the ground that had some experience with industrial scale distillation, and really had no problem rolling up sleeves and finding out what's going on, and do the project management, do the discovery, and really teach people how to do the job. So I jumped right on it. It was a great fit. Love the culture, love the people. I love the whiskey. It's been really great. So that was August of 2022. So coming up on 3 years here in August so far here at Green River.
That's funny you mentioned Watershed, because I also have a bottle of Watershed, and I don't know if you were a part of that. It was the OHLQ single barrel thing that they did. I believe this one's called Plum Crazy or something like that. They do a good job up there at Watershed. You've been a part. I mean, everything so far that I've heard you've mentioned and been a part of, those are all really solid bottles and really solid bourbons. So if you had any part of what those are today, man, kudos to you and what you've done, because all of that is really good, really good. There's a lot of different good bottles at all of those distilleries.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and with Watershed, I got my, the craft bug out of the way. There's not a lot of guys that can jump from, that have jumped from an industrial scale, producing 100,000 barrels a year, then going down to making, holy shit, we're fighting for 100 barrels in the next 6 months.
Right.
That's really different, and it's really hard to wrap your mind around. But
But
when you're
you've been
trying
at
to make,
both ends. Yeah,
yeah,
you've really been at both ends of that spectrum on mass production and very small batch, small barrel amount quantities.
yes, it's a lot easier to turn a dollar in the mass production. I can tell you that.
But
But
did you enjoy the Watershed experience? I mean, or was that a little stressful? Was there almost too much stress involved in that?
it was really, at the time, it was just a matter of, what do we want to do? What do we want to focus on? I loved making the apple brandies, the RTDs,
Right.
all the gins, all those wonderful, built up flavors to make a great spirit. It was a lot of fun. There was just a lot going on at once, and we really didn't know which path to go, and that made for some stressful situations. But I wouldn't trade that time for anything. And to say that the craft bug is out of me all the way would be a lie, because that's just a lot of fun there, to be able to keep your creative juices flowing, and still be able to fulfill your duties for big production.
Well, I can probably steer you in the direction of a few guys if you'd like to play around. They'd probably love to give you a hand.
Yeah, I've got some apple brandy boys there in Plain City that I can get a hold of, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
So when you first got into it, what drew you to it? Did you do any home distilling or any like wine or beer making at home before you first got started at the first distillery? Do you have anything background?
No, I mean, it was more or less I was traveling around the country at the time, prior to taking that job, working on demolition projects, industrial demolition for a lot of GM plants, Ford plants, uh, sawmills, power plants, all kinds of stuff we got into. Um, and then I met my wife, who was from Bardstown, and I said, "Screw this! I'm going to be with her. I'm not doing this anymore." And it was, best thing I've ever done in my life.
Nice. Your first run, you first saw that liquor come out of that worm. Did you know that this is what you're supposed to do?
It created, I don't know if I've ever found something that said I'm doing what I was supposed to be doing, other than being that dad for the first time. That was the feeling that kind of felt like that. But I will say that seeing that mash turn into that whiskey coming off, that just ignited a fire in me to find out what the hell is going on here. How do I make this better? How do I know
Right.
what is going on? And
Starts
how do I
down
recreate it?
that lifelong journey. How do I recreate it? And you're like,
Yeah.
no matter how hard you try, it's never the exact same twice.
Yeah. And
it's close,
yeah.
but you know the difference.
Yeah. And at this point, I don't know if I'll be remembered for anything I produce, but hopefully I'm remembered for building great teams. That means a lot to me. Means a lot that I can bring value to the company, bring value to the leadership team, and try to bring up young guys under me to do things the right way.
So Green River was a once existent and wasn't, and then Bardstown brought it back to life. Is that kind of the history of this? Can you explain a little bit of that?
Oh man, we've got to know. We have to get into another hour. Yeah. So yes, Green River has been a very historic brand. Going back to 1885. It pretty much was in its heyday up until about 1918, when a fire destroyed the distillery, and it really never came back up after that. Fast forward to the mid 1930s, 1940. The Medley brothers take over the facility. They rebuild it as the Medley Distillery, and they hold it until 1991, 1992. Then the facility is shuttered again, and an investment group out of South Carolina purchased the facility in 2014, and then they pumping in several $1 million to bring everything back online. A lot of roofs were caved in, a lot of equipment was damaged. Warehouses weren't really built to hold weight anymore, store barrels. So they invested quite a bit to get the facility up and going. And funny enough, they started producing the same year Bardstown Bourbon Company started producing. So they kind of following the same trajectory right now, as far as how long they've been producing. And then that production group started up the facility as O.Z. Tyler Distillery, who was the founder of the company. They were their investment company. Mainly because they hadn't been able to pony up enough greenbacks to purchase the Green River label from the original founder's family. So that would have been early 2014, 2015, 2016, those years. Fast forward to the time to put something in a bottle. This was 2021, 2022. Finally, they're able to secure the deal, and Green River was able to come back home to where it started. So immediately, it's like I always say, it's like McDonald's. You got your breakfast menu. Boom, 10 o'clock, you're back on lunch. That's how we flip back to Green River on this facility. So, it's brought back, and we're honored to put the pride of Owensboro on our labels because prior to Prohibition, there were over 40 distilleries in Davis County, Kentucky. We were only rivaled by Louisville.
Oh, wow.
So the fact that we have that incredible distilling heritage in this area and this entire this several counties wide, to be the only one still producing right now in our area is we lean into that pretty heavy.
Well, that is awesome. Just that little bit of the story that you gave us sounds really incredible. And that if you get any more of that on any kind of a distillery tour, I bet that's a really cool experience.
Yeah, you got the paraphrase, and if I've got a tour guide watching me or my national brand ambassador, she's gonna rip me for not throwing in 15 other bullet points.
So, how many different do you guys run? Multiple mash bills, one solid mash bill. How does that work at Green River?
Well, we're built. We can do a lot of things, but we can't do a lot of things really fast and switch at the drop of a hat. That's something that we kind of. I don't want to say we're behind times, but we don't have the full capacity to be changing over 50 recipes a year. It's just not going to happen that quickly for us. It comes down to how quickly can you separate your spirits? Can you put 100 barrels in one tank and then immediately go put another recipe in another tank and so forth? So we are built to do few recipes, but a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, in 2022, we were only running, we were finishing up, we probably had 5 mash bills. All of 2023 and 2024, we basically ran 4 mash bills. This year, we're running 6 mash bills. So, the biggest recipe I run is that 21% rye. That's our flagship bourbon, our black label. It's our Green River bourbon. It's our 90 proof. It's probably 60% of what we run. The others, we run a 21% wheat bourbon, and then you'll see our 95 rye whiskey, and then you'll see our we do a 13% rye. And we will also do, last year I started my own 4-grain mash bill. So that's a 55, 28, 13, 4. It's a very, it's like that, when you pop open a bag of Orville Redenbachers, that's kind of what it reminds you of. It's a very buttery, really good distillate that we're playing
Very
with.
interesting. Yeah, that's got me intrigued already.
Yeah.
You said that's something new?
Well, yeah. We had several mash bills we could choose from for the 4-grain, but none of them sat very well with me as far as how they aged out. But as soon as we produced this mash bill last year for a little while, one, I didn't think I was going to get a great yield. So it made a great yield. And then I had a lot more extra barrels I need to get rid of. We sent a sample to a customer and they bought all of our, overage on it. So it's like, okay, great. So we're doing it again. And then when we produced it, then it had the same buttery, just warmth to it. And I thought, some people's going to say that's kind of a taint that's being picked up. You probably didn't do a good job. I'm like, well, you might be right, but we distilled it 3 more times and it's still the same note. So it's a great mash bill.
So on a normal run, how many times do you normally distill? Does it vary?
As far as passes,
Yeah.
no, we're stripping it right off the column, and then we're running it right into our doubler, reboiler, thumper, however you want to call it. It's going in there about 120 proof, and then coming out, we like to stay right around 137 proof.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, and we'll put it in the barrel at 120.
Nice.
But a lot of people want to say it's 13 times distilled, 25 times distilled. Well, technically, every time it runs over a tray, it's distilled. So if that's the case, my God, we're 30 something times distilled.
30 something times.
Yeah.
What, different plates? Is that what it is?
Yeah. They count a plate as a complete distillation.
Even it's, we all know it's not a full distillation. It's
so we're getting an honest answer right here.
Rectification is one thing, but I will say is the more times you turn over clear spirit, you're going to continue losing flavor. Mm-hmm. It's going to get closer to that, grain neutral spirit. That's, I don't know. Texas makes that famous.
Yeah, they do.
So, do you use a lot of the corns that you guys use? Do you get a lot of them from the area? Do they come all over?
It's a lot of yellows. You guys using the heirloom?
We've done so far for me. We've done some white corn. We did a lot of local number 2 yellow. I haven't done any red or blue. I haven't done any of that. But spring 2023, we switched to all non-GMO corn, and that we maintained that all number 2 yellow dent. So wasn't the greatest. Wasn't a great crop locally for us, super locally. So we had to stretch out within hour and a half radius to get that grain. Majority of it comes from central Kentucky, and they've got plenty over there. But on this side of the state, there's very few farmers that were putting away, the non-GMO corn. It doesn't yield the best. It's a little bit more expensive, and it can take 2 or 3 seasons before it actually produces a good yield for them.
And you're what? You're northwest part of Kentucky. You're just right below Indianapolis. Am I not mistaken? Not too far below. I mean, just south of Indianapolis.
Yeah, pretty much. We're just to the east of Evansville.
Okay.
Kentuckiana.
Yeah.
Kentuckiana.
Well, we're just a stone's throw from northern occupied Kentucky, but yeah.
Northern. So wonder how far they are from Alan Bishop's place. You know of Alan?
Yeah, well, I'd say we could see each other's smoke coming out of the chimneys. We're pretty close.
Oh, no shit.
No,
well,
he's up there in Indiana, around Pekin area, and a lot of my family's from that area, so he's familiar with where he's at.
I think we're planning on taking a trip, man. His new place looks really cool. I'm excited to go check that out. He's got a lot going on over there. Is that Patoka Lake? Is that what lake that sits on?
Patoka. Mm-hmm.
Patoka. Okay.
Yeah. He's done so much, and he's really done a lot for craft distillers. He's really kind of living the dream. Really, I mean, when you have a long leash for creativity, that's a dream.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a cool thing going.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the future of Green River? What's anything big going on? Just expanding, growing, trying to pump out more barrels. You guys do like barrel picks? Do people come down and yeah, that'd be a good time right there.
We have a hell of a time. Mm-hmm. We'll typically we can do as many as I think we've done as many as 4 or 5 picks per week. Like tomorrow, we've got 2 slated up, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. So we try to make sure that the guys and crews that come in, ladies included, that they have a hell of a time and they remember it and they want to come back. We like to say you can love our brand, you can love our people, love our whiskeys, but until you come to Owensboro, that's when we've got you for life. It's a very wonderful facility to come into, and really, it's got a ton of nostalgia for what we do in this business.
So I'm a little familiar with how the barrel pick thing works, but do you know much about how do you have to have a certain number of people to purchase the barrel, or is it just you just purchase the barrel? Don't matter how many. I can just come in and say I just want to buy a barrel, basically. Okay.
It can be that easy. We actually did one. It's been a few weeks ago. A gentleman picked up a couple barrels for it was kind of for a benefit auction, and it was a wonderful cause and fallen heroes, and they did a fantastic job over in St. Louis with that, and it was a very smooth process. You didn't have to exactly have that transfer in bonds, but if you paid the tax, it works out great. So anybody can come in and get a single barrel if they want it. I always recommend bringing friends, even if they're not great friends, but you'll have great friends afterwards on one of our picks. We have a lot of fun.
Well, that sounds like something cool. That would be really cool to do sometime.
Yeah. So last year we started out the single barrel program, kind of launched it. We launched it slow, but it was in very, very high demand. This year we introduced the weeded single barrel as well. So that was everybody was really wanting a piece of that Green River weeded single barrel. So we released 100 of those this year, and then probably 300 of the 21 the rye bourbons single barrels. And typically we will honor those who have done really well for our business, or moved a lot of cases, or they're putting more of our SKUs on their on their menus or on their shelves. That's what we want to take and make sure we're taking care of those people. But for the most part, we'll take anybody right now.
Well, that's awesome. From what I've seen and what I've tasted, you've got, I think what I've seen on most of the liquor stores have at least 4 bottles. Is that what's probably on the shelves at most of them?
Yeah, so it depends on like where you're at, but a lot of times they'll put our 95 whiskey over with the rye. So be on the lookout for that kind of a forest green, emerald green rye bottle for us. It's a delicious. It's a high rye. I mean, it's absolutely high rye, 95%. A lot of distilleries labels won't exactly tell you. They'll just say high rye. I mean, they might sneak in some corn for smoothness or for more volume, but ours is a 95 rye. We'd like to call it bourbon drinker's rye. It doesn't have the crazy herbal notes and grassy dill, all that stuff. It's just a delicious kind of a great sipper and a great cocktail base.
Well, cool.
You're also going to see this guy out there in some markets. This is our Green River 1885. This is our well pour we're bringing into the markets. 85 proof. Most of that is on premise at your kind of your bars, restaurants, but we do sell it in our gift shop. In some markets, they're getting it on the shelves. So it's been a great hit.
Kind of just like a lower end of the. Is it just a whiskey? Is that what it is? Is it a blend?
Yeah, it's just essentially it's a blended whiskey, but it's not. It's just at that 85 proof.
Oh, okay.
And typically it's a 1 liter, so we're kind of getting a little bit more bang for your buck on those. But it's not meant to taste like our standard bourbon. So
right.
It's a different.
Probably a good cocktail mixer.
Absolutely.
So is that what it's intended to be put in a lot of bars, restaurants, things like that for a mixer?
Yeah, it really is. But I mean, it's delicious. I mean, it's easy to drink straight. It doesn't drink like a 2-year bourbon would. It doesn't have the crazy young notes. It's not going to jump out with a lot of barrel experience, but it's a very delicious pour.
Well, I saw it on your website, but I haven't seen it on the shelf. So is it not completely out yet? Is it only limited out?
Just
not out
just
at all?
Just in certain areas. Yeah.
Okay.
We got to drive to get it.
You got to drive down here. You got to come see us.
I bet Easy's got a spot in Indiana, and I bet they got it. Look at it.
It depends on how much red. It depends on how much crimson he wants to bring to the party, but we'll figure it out.
Right.
But no, I'm over here. I'm looking how far. I'm planning a trip. Like I was looking like from where I'm at, where we're at, where you're at. So I've already got a solid way in my head. Like, yeah, we're gonna
Like
stay here. We're gonna
he's
stay
done.
there
We got the
tonight.
tour set up.
Yeah, we're gonna wake up. We're gonna go down here, and then the old lady's gonna drive us home. That's how it'll be. But
Boy, well,
so, do you
what
guys?
is that they say? Tell God your plans and have him laugh at you. There's a good one.
Yeah.
I just make it up as I go. Like I don't even know what it is most of the time. And it's generalized. Like we're just going to go that way, and we'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah, there's a few distilleries over here in Western Kentucky. Good hit. They're a good hit.
So, do you guys have a specific yeast type you like to use? Is that a gatekeep secret? Do you are you generalized and use different ones for different runs?
It really depends on the customer. I mean, for the most part, we didn't really touch on that, but we are, for the most part, a contract distiller. Roughly 75% of what we produce is customer based. Roughly 25% and growing of what we produce is for our Green River brand. So we are continually investing in our brand itself to, expand and just break records all over the country and the world. We introduced it into Australia last year, so we're working on it. So at the end of this year, we should be roughly 40 markets. And for a brand that's only been out since, my gosh, 3 years roughly.
Wow.
It's pretty good for us.
Yeah.
Pretty good for anybody.
Well, I mean, for anybody that hasn't tried it, man, it's actually really good. Like I said, I'd seen it on the shelf for it's probably been a couple of years that I've seen the bottles out, and I've just never. And it's the price point. It's a solid price point. I guess maybe that's what scared me away. Like, oh, it can't be good for no. It's for $40. This is a damn good bottle of bourbon, man. And I'm kind of mad it's taken me this long to go buy it.
Yeah, you'll see those. Each blend we do on those is going to be a unique proof. So like the one I've got now is 117 proof. I'm not sure what you've got on there. Maybe a 118.
118.1.
Yeah, so they're going to vary. I don't know if they'll get much over 120, but they'll be in that mid 115 to 120 area, and they drink well above their weight class. I think that goes for all of our whiskeys and bourbons.
It's definitely it said it was blended between 5 and 7 year small batch bourbons, and it's I'm sure they were all really solid. Just the taste on this, I'm sure they were all really good individually.
Yes, so our standard bourbon is typically 5 to 6 year age profile. We get into that. Wheated is about 5. The full proofs, those are really close to pretty much all 6s on that range.
So, is the single barrel offering, is that a new thing you guys just started, or have you been doing that for a while?
I want to say we're in year. Somebody's gonna yell at me. I think we're in year 2 on that. And really, it was just a walk before you run kind of thing.
Well, single barrels are a lot of people really like a good single barrel bottle, and I'm not going to say that I don't myself. In my collection of way too many bottles that I have. If you ask my wife, some of my favorite bottles are the single barrel bottles that I have. I really enjoy them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really knock on it, I don't really have a favorite out of anything, but I'm a huge fan of these crazy funky single barrels. I want something that's just unique and different, and typically it's myself, our single barrel coordinator, some people on our QC team, and our national brand ambassador. We go through many samples, and we will pitch in and throw out if we don't feel like a single barrel or a sample we've pulled is worthy of the program or something fun for our clients. So we make sure that we've had a sample of all of those before we vet them. And I'm continually, they know my palate by this time. They know if something's funky, give it to Aaron, he'll love it.
So are you a fan of Scotch then?
Some.
The only reason why I ask, you say funky, and that's, to me, Scotch is funky. So
I agree. there's so at Watershed they did some single malt, and there was some smoky, but there's also some sweet, and it was some of the best ASM I'd ever had. So that's something I'd love to make at some point. And I think it'd be a lot of fun to make. I'm glad that we finally have a ruling on that, and maybe it opens the door up for a lot more people to want to make it here, and it'll be interesting to see. But I do love it. I do love something I'm not expecting. That's a lot of fun for me.
My buddy JJ Old Joe Jackson, he makes a wild Scotch style whiskey, man. It is, it's like licking the inside of the barrel, and you're not sure. You're like, man, under normal circumstances, this would be terrible, but I don't. I want to drink more of it, but I don't want to drink any more of it. Like, because some people they like Scotch. I love Scotch, and it's wild. JJ's he's an artist himself, so
yeah, that he is.
Yeah, Scotch is an acquired taste. You either love it or hate it, and I've not crossed that hump yet that I can say that I love it. So I'm going to continue to call it nasty and funky.
I think it's just like anything. You got to find the right one for your palate,
and it's exactly it. And that's kind of how it was with bourbon too. I drank quite a few. I was like, but I found my path, and then I got many bottles of the Wild Turkey and Russell's Reserve and the Maker's Mark over here, so you can kind of see where that's kind of where I started, though. I started those were my early bourbon.
It still got them.
Just swing for the fences.
That's right.
Yeah.
After about 4 or 5 of them, it doesn't matter what it was.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. There for a while, when you would go to a bar, that's all you would see. You would see Wild Turkey, Maker's Mark, Jack Daniels. There weren't a lot of options, man. And then here lately, over the last, I don't know how many years, bars are kind of taking chances, and they've realized there's way too many bourbons out there to just keep the 4 on the shelf.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot better stuff out there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of eye candy that's been put out there, for this different brands. I can't speak for them all, but it means a lot when you can see the person actually getting involved and being involved in a brand that they're backing and not just putting a name on it.
Right.
Yeah. It connects you to that person. You know what I'm saying? Like you see likenesses, personality likenesses with yourself. You're more likely to be like, man, I want to try that person's liquor because I kind of like a story that draws you in, just a connection that you make. So
yeah.
You can always tell when somebody who enjoys and loves what they're doing, that's what they do. You can definitely tell in their products and anything else. So,
well, just listening to the little bit of history that you told us of Green River, and then where that you're headed with that, it seems like you want to put out a good quality just for the name, for the history of the name. Yeah. So you don't want to put anything bad on the shelf. You don't want to do the history of that, the legacy of that. You don't do injustice. So. Sounds like you guys are going in the right direction with that.
Yeah, I mean we good Lord, that's something clear.
It is.
No, there's a whole there's a lot of lessons to be said about that, and we don't stray from quality. Quality is number one. We don't the quantity does not come over quality here, so that's something we strive for every day.
So and as a consumer, that's what you want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as a fellow distiller, what I'm saying, you speak right to our hearts. Like that's all of us. We want quality. We want the best thing we can make, and saying it means a lot when you hear a head distiller at a well-established distillery still preaching that. Like, man, we're about quality. We want quality. We want quality, because that's what's most important. So it's real nice to hear. You speak your truth.
I mean, the barrel can fix problems, but you don't really want to put problems in the barrel. You know what I mean? Like, you want to put good liquor in the barrel to begin with. You don't want the barrel to have to fix the bad problems. You know what I mean? Put it in there good. Let it finish good.
And that is a industry. That's something you're going to see in a lot of brands out there. And a lot of brands, when you're between a rock and a hard place, when you got to put something in the barrel, that's where you wing and a prayer that barrel helps you out some. But
yeah.
we are a huge proponent of not making, but making sure our customers and all of our guests are able to taste the distillate coming off the stills, because that's where I want them to fall in love with Green River right there.
So, do all your barrels have the same char, or are they different at any levels? How does that whole process go?
We will do, for the most part, whatever customers want, but for most, I would say over 95% of what we do is all char 4. So that's pretty standard for us.
Nice. You get your barrels all same place locally, or is there's actually did one of the barrel companies just close down? Was it Brown-Forman, or who was that?
Brown-Forman shut down their cooperage in Louisville.
Yeah. Now, what did that do? Did that affect anybody?
We're not really, not for our production. Most of theirs was for their own labels, but
Okay.
and that did lay off a very big portion of employees for them, unfortunately.
Right.
But sometimes you got to right size the ship. So,
Yep.
Unfortunately. So, we look for all of those brands to get back on their feet and back to pumping out juice. That's what we want to do. But for us, we try to maintain relationships with any cooperage that's available. The majority of our barrels are from Independent Stave. We'll still pull barrels from West Virginia, Speyside, several.
So, going back a little bit to the beginning of our conversation, bourbon actually was not doing very well back in, what was that, 2010? Is that how it can go back as far as? I mean, there wasn't a lot of bourbon sales. The main ones I'm sure were pumping, but other ones were kind of struggling, and all of a sudden, man, it took off, and it took off running.
Absolutely. It's the get rich. Everybody was trying to get rich really quick, and there's a huge influx of barrels in the market. Now we're making sure that we've got market for those barrels. So that's where you're seeing a lot of issues right now.
Right.
And those that are doing it, those of us that are doing it very, very well and actually putting quality number one, I have no doubts that we will continue to do what we do and only gain more respect and more fans and staying true.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe Alan Bishop made a comment that he believed that there would be some of these places would take a hit, that some of these bourbon distilleries may not make it through the struggle because it's already started. There's starting to be a kind of an end of the road, so to speak. So it's going to be interesting who can weather out the storm, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I think everything's a little cyclical. So I mean, it's this is our round.
There's a way.
But
everything goes away.
Well, if you're putting a good product on the shelf, you don't have to worry.
Yeah. So, Uncle Joey, if you remember back in the 2010s, that's when all the craft beers took over.
Yeah.
Yes.
The craze. You had hundreds of these little craft breweries popping up everywhere. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if that kind of coincided with the dip in the bourbon. Maybe saying everybody was focused on that, and
right.
then, maybe it was like, you know what, this is trash. It's good that people like. I'm not a craft beer guy. I'm not a hobby guy. I'm a distillate fella. But I'm just saying, like maybe they circled back, like you said, it goes in waves. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I feel like now, if you pay attention, there's more distilleries opening than there are breweries. The distillery wave is moving way past the brewery stage. So
yeah.
It seems like more breweries are closing.
I just wish they'd make it a little easier for me to open a distillery.
Right.
As easy it was to open a craft brewery, like things were popping up everywhere. And like that ain't happening with a little small craft distillery, like just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
Yeah. I don't need that big, but
yeah, I think it's a matter of I really just think it's the I don't know if you want to call it the pop culture. It's just what's available at the time and what do people put their value into. I don't think the value in bourbon is ever going to go anywhere.
No.
But
not good quality bourbon, at least.
I will tell you what's really taken off since COVID are bourbon reviews. Huge groups of people in social media,
Oh yeah,
TikTok and bourbon. Like there's a whole section of TikTok called Bourbon Talk.
that's
And
crazy. I
you
saw that.
you want to venture over into some wild pretentiousness, you go on and scroll through that a little bit. But even still, like there's millions of people that just get off watching other people review good bourbons or even bad bourbons or just they just want to
Well,
hear people's opinions and so you've seen a huge explosion in social medias with bourbon reviews just to be straight bourbons, people reviewing bourbons. And
Yeah, and I loved it. I love that people are creating the buzz and want to try it, but I also don't want that to hinder someone going out and trying it for themselves. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
And if that is happening, that's unfortunate.
well, that's where you got Shine Talk on the other side. We're always like, make your own, make your own. It's this easy, make your own. So we always, the home distillation, and then the bourbon talk. There's a little bit of love hate there between us. We're like,
Yeah.
oh no, here you can make it your own. Yeah, buy you a barrel. You get you a use, make some whiskey. It's super simple. Here, buy a second, or you get a still, get old cake. So as they said, it's give take, but either way, if it's still all rooting back to moonshine, which is great for the tradition of making liquor.
yeah. Bourbon comes from good old fashioned, basically white
Yeah.
lightning. Corn liquor,
Corn liquor.
corn and sugar, or corn sugar and rye, corn
Or
and
just
sugar and
corn,
wheat. Yeah,
just it all starts with clear distillate. So
yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, big fan. Big fan of how I'd bottle it and sell it every chance I get. But
So
right
have you
now,
ever thought
right now we
about
try to taste it.
You ever thought about putting out a clear rye?
Um, when the market, I would say when the market wants it, maybe we give it an opportunity. But for our brand right now, our what we call our core four, that's our focus. So that's our 95 rye, our wheated bourbon, standard bourbon, our rye, and then our full proof. I mean that's our core four, and that's what we're trying to push. That's the brand building right now we're trying to do.
do you
But then
offer any of the core four as a clear,
That's what I was just getting ready to ask.
or is it all aged?
no, all aged, but I would absolutely love to do that. And if you come down, we can certainly try all those.
Oh shit!
You had me.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, it's cool to be able to be like, oh, I got a bottle of clear and I got a bottle of it aged. That way, I could go home and I could taste the difference. And so I'm a clear distillate fella anyway. So
Yes, well,
I'm
when
the
we
aged guy.
I can see that. No, no. Typically, if we introduce what we've got to any new customers or clients, I insist they taste the distillate. Typically,
Nice.
they'll taste a 2-year, and then they can taste a 4-year or 5, whichever we can get a handle of. So they can see the beginning. We're not going to put anything in there that's not delicious right now, and it's just going to get better. So.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
I know one thing's for sure. I'm taking the Santa crowd home from work tomorrow. I got to go by the state store.
Yeah.
You got me sold.
It's not allocated here yet. So if you're wanting Green River in Ohio, they haven't allocated it yet. So you better jump on it before it gets super popular, and then they'll allocate it like they do everything else.
Yeah.
Like damn Ohio. But
Well, we're pretty. I do love Ohio, OHLQ. I don't know how many people will say that, but I love Ohio liquor. I love what they do for everybody. If you've been in it, you understand it. Its quirkiness, but typically anybody on the outside wants to beat it up, but it does a lot of good. So we have roughly, I want to say 27 rick houses right now, and one of those is 100,000 barrels, and it's at half capacity right now. So we ain't running out of nothing anytime soon.
So when you say OHLQ, do you know how many stores you are in the state of Ohio, or do you have a probably not? That's a lot, probably.
I mean, 400. Probably they probably got 450 locations in the state.
Nice.
And wouldn't have any idea how many is
Well, I know.
has ours
Listen,
on the property.
I didn't see it. I went down to Alabama and went into an ABC liquor store, and they didn't have one single bottle. I was kind of surprised. As much as I liked it, and as popular as it is up here, I was surprised that we couldn't find it down there.
Yeah, we're in. So I believe it might be our Tennessee rep that handles Alabama as well, but we're pretty well represented. Starting to build out west a little more, California.
Nice.
We do well in Colorado, so we're seeing that uptick out there.
Nice.
So,
Texas,
do you roughly
Texas
know
and
what?
Oklahoma has called me back several times.
Do you roughly know what state kind of you guys send the most to?
I wish I knew it was anywhere other than Kentucky, but Kentucky consumes quite a bit of it. I'd say Ohio's pretty damn close.
Well, I mean, that's awesome though. That's your state. I mean, if you're putting a product out and where you're making it, drinking it, that must say something for what you're making. You know what I mean?
Well, when they can get a lot here.
Well, and they could get a lot of other stuff too, but yours is obviously good enough that they keep going back. So kudos to you. I hope it continues. I know I'm going to keep buying bottles of it and seeing it whenever I can.
Absolutely. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've had Aaron on here long enough. I'm sure he's got an early morning making fantastic liquor.
Well, I think the babies are in bed and we're good. I'm up there in their playroom right now because it's quiet.
You got to pick your spots. You know what I'm saying? When you got little kids, you got to pick your spots. I got a 16-year-old room hermit that I don't see anymore, so I'm just living a free life.
Counting down the days.
But anyways, Aaron, we do appreciate you having taking your time and joining us tonight. I think we are going to make a trip down because we've been wanting to go see Allen's at Old Homestead. So it's it's kind of twisting arms, and I got to try the clear liquor. So expect us sometime, maybe at the end of the summer. We might.
Yeah, we're talking like a maybe September trip. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you got to get down here during Bourbon Festival. There you
go.
Bourbon Festival. Yep.
Dates.
Matt will look it up. Matt will take care of it.
September. You're going to be September 12th.
Nice.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that.
Well,
it's a good time.
We will do some research. I promise.
That will be in Bardstown.
Nice.
Oh, the Bardstown, the one in Bardstown. Yeah, the Bardstown Bourbon Fest. Yes.
Yes, ours is actually, we have what used to be the International Barbecue Festival here in Owensboro. We've turned that into Barbecue and Barrels. So we'll have 45 distilleries here May 9th and 10th, and it's going to be a good time.
Okay, now you're speaking my language.
May 9th. Yes. All right, let me look at my phone.
Well, I should have just began with the tagline. We're in Owensboro. We do barbecue, bourbon, and bluegrass. We crush all that.
Say less, my friend. Say less.
We'll have us a great time.
Heaven.
Yeah, awesome. You're gonna see a few jugs, and you're gonna hear a lot of banjos most of the time. In a good way.
Singing my language. So.
Well, all right, everybody. You may see us in May, my friend.
Guys, come see me anytime. Love to be on it again. Hope you have me, and it's a pleasure meeting all you guys.
We'd love to have you on again, man. Yeah.
Who's on next week, Uncle Joey?
Man, I'll be honest. I'm drawing a blank right now. I do not know. What's the date on that?
I don't know. 8th or 9th, something like that.
I'll have to look it up, man. I'm sorry.
That's bad.
Second.
It's all good. We'll see y'all Monday night at 9 p.m.
Monday night at 9.
Yeah, Monday night at 9. Y'all come back, hang out. Whoever we got. I can tell you who ain't gonna be here. Sean
Rigby.
I will say I stumbled across a new website on the internet. Y'all got to check out Uncle Joey's new page. Just type in AmericanWhiskey.com. Y'all have a great night. We love all y'all.
Thanks, everybody.